Welcome back to Zero to Hero. Today's topic starts off basic, but quickly builds to be relatively advanced. It's how dynamic speed and priority work. Speed order in Pokemon is a somewhat complex topic that is very important in gameplay. Having a solid fundamental understanding of it is necessary to perform well. In Pokemon, turn order is very different from other turn-based games. In many games, players take turns moving back and forth, being able to make your move after seeing what your opponent has done on their last turn. However, in Pokemon, both players lock in their Pokemon's moves without knowing what your opponent has picked. Once all moves are locked in, they play out at the same time based on each Pokemon's speed. The fastest Pokemon moves first, then the second fastest, then third, then fourth. This is referred to as the turn order, speed order, or move order. In the case of a speed tie, where two or more Pokemon have the exact same speed stat, one Pokemon is randomly chosen to move first. These aren't too common, and measures can be taken to avoid these 50-50 scenarios, but they do come up. And that's the very basics of how speed order works. But as you likely suspected by the video length, there's much more to it than just that. Just before we get into it, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you like the video, hit the like button, and leave a comment of the most interesting speed interaction you've had. Many effects can impact a Pokemon's speed stat, and the moment a speed stat is changed, the turn order will be updated accordingly. So if a Pokemon becomes slower than another Pokemon that it was faster than while a turn is playing out, its move will be bumped to move after the Pokemon it's now slower than. This is referred to as dynamic speed. Basically, speed can be adjusted while a turn is playing out. If you're a returning player from older gens, you may remember that turn order was locked in at the start of a turn and could not be changed. This mechanic was changed in Generation 8, where dynamic speed was introduced. Let's look at a couple examples. This is the turn order for these Pokemon. Based on their speed stats, Iron Bundle would move first, then Fluttermane, then Ogerpon, then Urshifu. In this scenario, Iron Bundle could just move first and deal some damage, but then Fluttermane could retaliate with a Dazzling Gleam that could potentially one-shot both Iron Bundle and Urshifu. Let's say Iron Bundle uses Icy Wind. This lowers both opponents' speed by one stage. This way, Fluttermane and Ogerpon will both be slower than Urshifu, allowing Urshifu to move second. Now it can finish off the Fluttermane with a Wicked Blow. The same effect happens with things like Paralysis that halves speed. Increasing speed also does the same thing. You can pair a fast Tailwind setter or a prankster Tailwind setter like Whimsicott to set Tailwind right away, then allow its partner that may have been slower than the opponents to now outspeed and move first. Switching in Pokemon with abilities like Drizzle or Drought next to Pokemon with things like Swift Swim or Chlorophyll will also trigger these abilities before moves happen, allowing them to move up in the turn order. Trick Room reverses the speed order. Speed order still functions the same, but the slower Pokemon moves first and the fastest will move last. Priority. The next crucial part of speed in Pokemon is something called priority. This part is more complex than turn order. In addition to turn order, there are priority brackets. These range from -7 to +5. The vast majority, like 99% of moves, will have a priority of 0. The best way to think of these is that they are a whole new turn order for each priority bracket, in addition to the base turn order. And like turn order, the brackets play out from highest to lowest, so +5 would happen first and -7 would happen last. Some moves have increased or decreased priority, so if 3 Pokemon are using normal moves with 0 priority, and one Pokemon uses the move Quick Attack, which has a priority of 1, this priority bracket will play out before the priority 0 bracket. So the Quick Attack user will move first, then the priority 0 bracket will play out as normal. This allows slower Pokemon to move before faster Pokemon by using high priority moves. If 2 Pokemon use Quick Attack, priority bracket 1 will still play out first. So the faster Quick Attack user will attack, then the slower Quick Attack user, then priority bracket 0 will play out as normal. This will function the same regardless of how many brackets exist within a turn. As mentioned, most moves have 0 priority, but increased priority moves are quite common, so they'll come up relatively frequently. Most common moves with increased priority are as follows. Protect has a priority of +4. This is to ensure that the target cannot be hit by other moves. Moves similar to Protect, like Wide Guard or Spiky Shield, also have +4. Fake Out is +3 priority. This allows it to flinch the target, since you can't flinch a target that's already moved, and if it didn't have increased priority, it would just depend on your speed. This also makes faster Fake Out Pokemon more effective, since they can flinch opposing Fake Out users, due to still outspeeding them in that higher priority bracket. Helping Hand is +5 priority, so you won't be able to fake out a Pokemon using Helping Hand. Extreme Speed is +2 priority, faster than most priority moves. Follow Me and Rage Powder are also +2 priority. You can fake out these Pokemon since fake out is in a higher bracket. And if you have an extreme speed user that is faster than the redirection, you'll be able to attack their partner before they get these moves off. Most increased priority moves exist in the +1 bracket. Things like Aqua Jet, Bullet Punch, and Mach Punch are all +1. Sucker Punch is also in the +1 priority bracket, but functions a little bit differently. It only works if the target has chosen a damaging move and has not yet attacked. So if you have a slow Pokemon with Sucker Punch, like King Gambit, and you target a Pokemon that is attacking, but is also attacking in the +1 priority bracket and is faster, or is attacking in a higher priority bracket, they will move first and then Sucker Punch will fail. This type of thing comes up a good amount, so keep it in the back of your mind. The only notable move at negative priority is Trick Room, which exists all the way down at -7. There are other moves between 0 and 7, like Roar and Dragon Tail, but they're super niche and almost never used. Trick Room is -7 to make sure that it always goes last. This is to fit the theme of allowing slow Pokemon to move first afterwards, but it also provides counterplay by allowing pretty much any other move to attack before this goes off. Priority brackets are not reversed in Trick Room, only the speed order. So higher priority attacks will still move before lower priority attacks. But when there are multiple priority attacks, the slower user will move first. Priority, like speed, is also dynamic. If you increase or decrease a Pokemon's priority mid-turn, its move will be adjusted into its new priority bracket. This is so incredibly niche, but there is one example that comes up somewhat frequently, which is Talonflame with its ability Gale Wings. Gale Wings gives Talonflame +1 priority with its flying moves, but only when it's at full HP. If you're able to hit Talonflame with a faster priority move at +1, or with a higher priority move to bump its HP below max before it attacks, it will make its move within the 0 priority bracket. This could allow you to hit it with another Pokemon that is faster to take it out before it gets Tailwind up. There are a couple of effects that block increased priority moves only. Moves like Quick Guard or Psychic Terrain will prevent increased priority moves from hitting Pokemon on the ground. Dark-type Pokemon specifically are immune to Prankster boosted moves, and the abilities Queenly Majesty, Dazzling, and Armor Tail protects the user and its ally from any increased priority moves. These do not prevent decreased priority moves. Some effects that can affect priority mid-turn or ignore priority are Quash, After You, Instruct, and Dancer. They are also quite niche, but I have seen all of them in tournaments, so I'll go over them briefly. Quash forces the target to always move last, ignoring all other Pokemon's priority. So if you quash something, it will move last even if other Pokemon are using negative priority moves like Trick Room. After You forces the target to move immediately after the user. This could allow you to use a fast After You Pokemon to force a slow ally to move next, or to make a Pokemon with a negative priority move next. Instruct forces the target to use the move it last used, and move right after the user. This kind of gives the target an extra attack, and it triggers immediately after Instruct goes off. So the target will have its extra attack from Instruct, and the move that it clicked will still go off as normal. When another Pokemon uses a dancing move, the user of the Dancer ability will copy the move and use it immediately after. This also gives the user an extra move, since the move it chose will still go off as normal. There is one more thing that is along the lines of priority and you need to keep in mind. There are effects that will happen before any moves happen and essentially have priority higher than 5. Switching, generational mechanics, and abilities. When a switch is locked in, it will happen before any moves. Same thing with generational mechanics like terrestrialization and abilities. Switches will happen first, then any applicable abilities, then terrestrialization, and then moves will happen. These follow the same speed order as moves, so if two Pokemon switch out on the same turn, the faster Pokemon will switch out first, then the slower one. Keep in mind, this is based on the Pokemon switching out, since it's already on the field, and not the Pokemon switching in. Terrestrialization and abilities also follow this. If more than one Pokemon terrestrializes on the same turn, the faster one will Terra first. And abilities will be activated in speed order, with a few exceptions like Neutralizing Gas, that triggers before any other ability. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be able to do its intended purpose. Things like this can help you figure out an opponent's speed stat without them even attacking. For instance, if you both have the same Pokemon with a switch-in ability like Intimidate, Sandstream, or Drizzle, but suspect that they're trained differently. Keep an eye out for which ability activates first. A Pokemon whose ability activates first is the faster one. These mechanics are also subject to speed ties, so if one activates first, they could have tied speed and just won the speed tie for that ability activation, but for the most part, this will tell you which one is faster. End of turn effects like Sandstorm Chip, Leftovers Recovery, and Burn damage will also happen from fastest to slowest. They do have their own order. For instance, Sandstorm will always trigger before Leftovers, but when comparing two Pokemon triggering the same effect, like both taking Sandstorm Chip, you'll be able to tell the speed tiers. And keep in mind that all these effects, switching, terrestrialization, Sandstorm Chip, are also subject to the reversed speed order under Trick Room. Keeping an eye out on small details like these will give you a significant information advantage. That's it for speed and priority. Keep on training, and thanks for watching.